Okay, so we got a shop over here. If we really get onto that thing. Portrait as you can see. Yeah. Show me something what I do with Kev Kids over here. It's been a while. And I have Fiat Marshal and all that, but we need some of this. Going. A little more concentrated as it were. And we'll be living in that society. Kevka society, if you will. Low armament sort of build. That's fine. How the hell are we fully industrialized over here? Yeah, I'm gonna read what's relevant to us over here. But not over here. But I thought we'd be semi-industrialized over here. I didn't think we'd be fully industrialized. That's the power of Le Futur. Visionary. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I have a bit of a build up over here before we do that. It's this few charge, which is neat. Very neat, if I say so myself. Utopia death. Mayakovsky walked into the office, chewing on the every cigarette in his mouth. Little bulk of papers, he is like nothing else. You can order to burn all bureaucracy this day. Man, that was the man who was the public with the steel job of the revolution. Sometimes he wanted to retire. For the love of God, he was over 40. It's not fitting for a gleaming future state. Every new gray hair on his head terrified him. Quite a boy for heroic death in battle, like a fear of his shame. But he also had responsibilities to breathe the revolution's impetus on his back. He knew he had to carry it. But who will replace him, Mesky? He has the right spirit, but he's too meek. Still spoiled by the Razagalotes. He would make a good bureaucrat, but not a captain to lead the people through fiery forge of battle. Benikov. It's only some kind of genius, but this man can't even remember to wash himself. No, you don't need a schizophrenic madman to order this around. Perhaps he knew this too well. Every day he had to endure his pain and forge his will into a hard iron. This will be hot. He won't turn back like a coward. He will faint revolution or will die trying. Utopia death. There's Utopia over here. We'll read all stuff once so we get that going. Enter a little event. So we can choose our stuff over in here. But we might have to do a whole cabinet thing real quick. Does anyone got their little specialists? Man of steel. Very steely man. The guys are dead. Wrong one, that one. Could be one off, that's fine. Let's see over here. Otar Kapani has been a level member should be cast for years later. His view chose to listen to him. The to represent him as the Supreme Soviet. As he approached the doors of the Congress, he took a deep breath and answered. Upon entering, the first thing he saw him was heat. To limit the energies his men made a building in the middle of the frozen in winter, feel like the sun. The second thing in him was sound. He'd hear what seemed like a million desperate group of men who were on the verge of pouring inside the assembly who were the next chairman. Hard and I sprung to turn Philip Maikowski upstairs, craving Eurasia mercy to the heart. And his back on the his men on the shoulders. Could imagine better company at they went down the road with the evil again. Can't complain. Who do you guys for? Oh, Maikowski and Utopia. Put that over here. I'm Vladimir Maikowski. We kept us into the future. The father of our revolution said unshaken, leading us to the dawn of a new world. No one of Miranda has proven worthy. The people of Kyrgyz trust no one but the original guide to the revolution. Nothing but Maikowski's will and vision can forge our destiny. Arise, workers of the world. Our captain will lead. You should become the gods of this world. Brew all the forces of reaction. Cower for the coming steamroll of the future. I think something's gonna be changing. I love you real quick, so I'm gonna read some weed a little bit. You know how it is. Vladimir bitch Maikowski. Let's read these unbound real quick. Just gotta be reading all this shit. Look at that, we should keep them. I was wondering if we keep them or have them be replaced or some shit. Again, some more civilian stuff built faster. Let's see, then we got a poetry. Read this over here real quick. Vladimir Mayakovsky, the iconoclastic hero of acceleration, is the first formally futuristic of seen in the world. It is by some crook afraid of occurs near the land of Georgia. Teenage convert of socialism activism. He was soon drawn into the RSDRP underground and during a spell in prison. A series of experiments of poetry will begin to shape him into a worthy of to a valley socialist artist. Shortly after these would be connection in art school and bombment and instant Russian futurism and poetry were beholden to the urban art scene as a bomb that would provoke raucous coward crowds. But like it did millions to others, the great fall was to change Maikowski's life irrevocably. His political reputation saw him turn away from volunteering, but his opposition in the war saw him see will get drafted during later mobilization. In the Russian Civil War broke out, however, Maikowski was immediately drawn to the communist wing of the revolutionaries, running propagandists for the cause. Alas, defeat came eventually, and while some of the movement would flee to Zelta and others into Eastern Europe, he found himself in the contingent that escaped into secession Georgia and Azerbaijan. Without the core of the RSDRP and many other candidates dead in the fields of Kuban, it will be the six surrounding Maikowski that would dominate the hardened core of the southern revolutionaries. Though cooperation with local communists, the state of the region was overthrown and united to the Korean Federation of Soviets in 1920, with the opponent's first premier. Over a decade later, the world of Kyrgyz society has changed under the revolutionary helmsman. The breaking of modernization, disreligion, and agitation that is now understood as futurism in practice was codified through his rule. Defining their mountain fortress, Maikowski's government created a center of revolutionary art and poetry culture around Fiume. Bringing Tbilisi as a shining light in the controversy of Persia and the background to the north, however. After so long as a revolutionary having taken drastic measures to preserve the cause and having earned the scorn of foreign inspirations of Vladimir Lenin, what left of Vladimir Maikowski? What price did Maikowski the poet pay for Maikowski the revolutionary? And what price will all Kyrgyz pay to free Russia? I'm going to be reading this stuff over in here. Velocity Technology War. In the smothering tension in the 1920s, a furious engine began the war in Italy. Its war got heard around the world from the pen of Filippo Tommaso Marinetti. In 1909, manifesto would go into artistic school, but also to a totalizing political philosophical ethos that saw a remodeling of life from the dinner table to the battlefield. At the same time as it drew interest in Italy, Europe, and beyond, its application came to defy simple political classification other than anti-traditionalism. Arguably the first of the modern ideologies under the core of accelerationism, the war down directly with lexicalism. Many priests who were at war with the past, viciously attacking both morality and tradition. They trumpeted militarism, youth, and innovations, and automobiles to the airplanes. At the same time, they were still in the East sensibility of founders' ethics. Extolling superior mental heroism that convention-defined deeds, while frequently at odds with socialism, and while 1920s overwhelmed between the League and few made the second national became far more than a rise tendency was immediately. At first, the seduced nationalist, socialist dynamics who also set the up in public order. In Russia, food was armed with the communist scene as as the society see a product of liberation and uplift the masses. This utopian driver surrounding his warfare, elevating the image of the heroic pilot R&D to shock trooper, ensuring the new state of fuel-made cafeterias will be built in part by revolutionary futurists. Futurism, the medianality is war over the attachment before remains. There's a whole war left to revolutionize, but now was globally reshaped in the form. Time and governments produce all violent economic models under this umbrella, from producer-directed capitalism and syndicalism to the state-managed corporatism and communism, all the money carries value into the task to the total war or vision of utopia. This extreme truly opposed. Capitalism maintains dizzy momentarily and no gravity always will. Just exactly over here. What's that whole thing becoming? We becoming as well. Motion of the spirit. We do some bound. Meditation with the proletariat is not enough. Even when we hold the rings of power, our struggle still continues the battlefield of human soul and mind. In this struggle needs its own revolution. Bourgeois thinking has to be completely eradicated, or idols thrown to the discipline of history. And we're not afraid to fight as fiercely as we do our enemies of flesh. Let's finally pave our way to a fiery, futurist culture. Yeah. The revolution will be revolutionary, as it were. So that's the gist of it, really. Don't need all the guns we can get. Just think about it. I got plenty for the logistics of that. It's nice. That going over here, yeah, actually, we're just going in a way with bourgeois morality. That. Also got a second revolution. Too long our eyes have been clouded with the wars of meek teachers and wisdom aesthetics. Do not listen to these preachers of peace and denial, for they are nothing but servants to the Tsar and the factory owner. People rush your ball with energy, with unbound potential in these souls and hands. They are constantly extinguished by those workers of priests. Workers of death, priests and reactionary philosophers, sipping falsehoods such as humanity, decente, or worst of all, taste. Is their wine. It's time to cast away those chains. Let us follow our obsessions relentlessly. Let us bring all obstacles of progress so long with the arts of the butter. Over the teach of bourgeois audience, the lovers of priests of Christian curiosity, scientists with the outmoded superstitions, inherent human dignity of the revolutionary soul with the demands of the tyrant. For proletarian virtue has nothing to do with bourgeois morality. Virtue is the deep expression of the love of free will. Morality is an imposed limit, and the future breaks all limits. All the limits. Every limit is limit within the limits. The limits that have limits. The limits that contain limits. TPD victory, that's it after all. Them boys up in here. Look at this fella up here, let's see. That'd be neat. Shows victory in Albania. Isn't that neat? So we got ourselves the second revolution. Do this one over in here. The second revolution, my company stood behind the doorway in front of it, thousands gathered across the country. Some, even from our Caucasus, no doubt, the heroes addressed the nation that future guards have been announced since early in the week. Civilians, revolutionaries, government officials, everyone have been waiting with anticipation to see what that country would hold in store for the revolution. It was time to deliver. As you took a breath, he stepped outside the doorway and onto the podium, flanked by government officials. The crimson banners of the revolution adorned with that beautiful lightning cross flew overhead proudly in the wind. Man, loving all that. It's been neat. Meet him stood many thousand who went into a war pause and cheer they saw him emerge. My company paused for a moment to wait for the cheer to die down before he could speak. Comrades, it's been 20 years since the dazzling strength of our revolution shattered the shackles of the Tsar of the Caucasus. Who will deny that we have achieved much in this time? Who will deny that how in glorious cities as Baku and Tbilisi may match even the grand city of Chicago and New York across the ocean? Who may chart the fact that our grand federation is a pillar revolution that will cleanse the world from the rusty old board of action? Much more achieved probably up to by the other audience. Mayakovsky leaned to the microphone. Be as it may, it is clear that there is still much to work to be done. But on north to south force of reaction linger. Those who seek to corrupt and defile the path of the revolution perhaps just as significantly. Those who believe they support the revolution but in their spirit and their character need to be freed as well. The revolution of 1,000 dead generations of the past still weigh heavy on us. The noise of the morality, the bourgeois, and the polycrats were living contradiction of the massacres of the Great War still remain in even the most revolutionary organizations and movements. Possibly we formed my culture scoff. It's hard to say, it's not something that can allow to continue as the stance of revolution is only halfway done. What we need now is a second revolution, one that will upend not the realm of production, but the plane of politics, but our spirits. Yeah. Cultural revolution now will set the country ablaze. I'm sure nothing back after that. Pointing to the night sky, my country roared. See, as the great bear, the star, we cement our place there among the heavens as we cover the earth in a second deluge and wash away the water, fuel despots and bourgeois plutocrats. Once more, the crowds cheered spread across the crowd for in distant my country, you hear some song which written when the revolution first began. And who by to unleash a new revolution, the youth of the country? Let the God of future go out to the sea of earth. Let a new wave of fervor grasp our throats and souls. You, youth of the world, bring forth a new spring into the corner of the globe. Set the hearts of the work ablaze and a new reign of freedom. And people want once more. That much we want as well. That Promethean Marxism now. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Bound to the mountains of Caucasus, we're not unlike Prometheus of the ancient myth, and like him, our task is nothing less than a total uplift of humanity from an animal state. Through communism, we won't create only abundance, but a new type of civilization will come. Bound to no God or king, will become God itself. Everything we will do for the era of nuclear potential that awaits around the corner. That over there, that's definitely creating potential right there. Bulgaria mutiny over in here and the Civil War. As long as he provoking following arms in the Galactic Coastal Ukraine, but he's eventually the one federation of as possible. And finally, the incident of the massacre. That's a lie, I was gonna get that. Always seen the Hosa. Always seen that. Popped up when I was about to yawn. It will be funny and terrifying. Next, he drags himself through the streets of Sokab. And the lazy comfort trick today wasn't the day with the big man aside, no leave over to say to him. He was finally truly free again. What better way for a man to express the kingdom of his friends? And all the camaraderie was already there waiting for him. Dmitri, Pietro, fight older again Timur. The Tartar were very spoke Russian, only ever heard anyone as his drug in the butchery of next my tongue. Well, they passed that cigar and smuggled from France, your boy mentioned. The gang sat in contemplation, not sure what to do. Simple muggies and drunken their pages didn't cut anymore. No. He needed something new, something with just the right amount of spice to get them on a proper track again. The contemplation dragged on until lazy Leo showed up. Alexei had recently introduced him to the gang, but there was a certain suspicion around him. I mean, everyone isn't easy. Watched Leo that he tortured straight cat with happened to wander into his flat. The white ground face was always infectious. You son, you won't believe all my housekeeper boy just gave me. Got his back spilled out of the floor and out again. Goodies, a shit ton of them. Sharing skull bag with future and guard and green on it. Decorated knife. Is that a real revolver? No way just carried that around. How was that a slip from the up crook? Surprise in his eyes must have shown as Neil laughed at trademark Bob. What's the matter, Lex? You scared already? Oh, yeah, I thought you might join us. His face was steep with anger. Well placed punch knocked the uprights. Upside right on the floor and just a quick follow of wrestling the gun away from him. No shield was going to solve him today, the day he had grown up. The band-aid picked up with no one special. Some more teacher figured in the old and partial library, pure library. Now the folk were seeing he was a spy from Moscow, and Leo didn't care enough to second guess. The alternative was much more fun after all. Besides, who else went to the capital? No one who was an old missionary poor. Surely. All it took for him was to step a foot outside, and the fun began. All attacked him straight to the door. Piotr arranged the robbery cell in the cane. W.T. arranged the fade to his face, with his fist. The millmates were attacking the mess out of the record he couldn't even read. And please, the merchant was just guessing into the already grandiose frenzy. Eating all that was left was the mangled horror show of a mutilated body. Body that was still breathing, like the into a aroma where she can grip. Ticket out of misery. First board, second, third, fourth, and on the hill there's no more. Caution and regret. Let's go. Very much showing how society be society. Isn't that food, anyways? I'll get the eye experience. Marxism. And now the full breath of life. Taste of freedom. To die in this age is easy, but to make life is hard. Yeah, we do not fear the hard way. The fundamental principle of our evolution is the glorification of life in every form. There's sweetness that we encounter even in our labor and struggle as we do in love and games. We see the joy of life, only true going on the secret of our mysticism. Down on the ancient code of death away on the young horse of life. All sacred roots of the world exist to be broken. When we fall, there is nothing but a drunken embrace of life. Crazy power of love arises to man and woman in Caucasia. Cast away the shackles, don't let the insane rules of life hating dry and wrinkled head sorrow among you. Damn. Sweet, I'd be a big fan of that. Offensive doctrine. Oh yeah. You gotta be a protector, really. Because they can choose when not to do that or not. Let's see, we also need some tow artillery. Which we don't really attack bombs, right? We can invest roll. But chill into the air. See, how does this freedom taste? We should see. Taste of freedom. Was midnight sun, darkness reigns in the attic of his hand, and it was a sign that seemed like history had forgotten this place. Quiet told a tale, forgetful of all the turmoil that came with the revolution. In mute mockery to the ferocious storm of future's rhetoric, the white walls and the pleasant corners so dear to all simple souls, she had to stay forever. This was not an illusion. History, the restless engine she was working at full speed. In the house of the Chiv family, one of the damp and grey ruins built from downtrodden proletarians, the Tasha led the million of Nirna, sorry. Lovna. Butchered and apologized. But again, recounting all the things that she did for her new life. All clothes packed. A little dry bread and water in the bag. A little book of revolutionary poetry printed on the cheapest paper she could afford. Carried close to her heart. Heart that was racing. But I was trembling in fear. She was scared of the old man. When we woke up. When we came out of the ghost of the old town czar speaking through his vodka searching lip breath. Sending young Natasha to the door into the green knife of old order prepared for women. To slave away the marriages of idiot villager. He did about to catch witty thoughts and instead to think the future that awaited her. He thought the light of the city flickering in fireflies, calling to her like a fae. He thought of the gods of the future she had met, those wonderfully free boys and girls that lived the best of life. But these images, the wonder tiefness of paradise so close yet so far away, she slipped out of her prison, rushed into the great place of the meeting, and she ran. Her mind she rose even higher. Maybe she would get to meet Tchaikovsky himself. He swooned over the genius of Russian, the man who cast away the bourgeois action from Georgia. How brave he was, like a hero of ancient myth, and how handsome. He doesn't pretty handsome, actually. Pretty nice over in here. A lot better with the hair, by the way, not bald. Mirrored with the dreams, he was blinded by lights on the iconic automobile, the steel beast of which the oceans of war breaking. Signs of Gregor over the mighty war stopped before her. In the driver's seat window were peeked the smiling face of a young man, the black cap decorated a brass bloody star. Heartache to freedom. Jump in, Natasha. We're getting you out of this hole. Get that name. Look at that futurism frontier into thinkers. There is no evolution of the body in the state without evolution of mind and heart. The intellectual development of the proletariat is imperative to avoid capitalism from taking root again in the minds of mankind. We're going to become more than just another social state. We become a utopia of writers, artists, philosophers, but also the continental man. We tend to care every Philistine reactionary who stands in the way of workers' enlightenment. There's no well here belief for the in soil. So we get that one, but now. So they've been marching north, as it does. Let's continue over here. It's been a while over here, so I do apologize for that. Let's get some better radios and shit. Victory Madagascar, matter what in wisdom. This is victory in Moldova. The factory I put over here would have bossed up on that. Production over here, assassination of Gustav. That's to occur. Right, powder keg over here, taking politics and the thinkers. Against God over in India. The bully will gain some more research speed. Declare war against God in the heavens. No longer shall we bow our heads to immortal powers. We stand our own men. We united struggle, we create a war of our own. We reject any religion other than our brotherhood. With the fire of artillery and the thunder of God, we always war against all the lacking in the towers of heaven until the more men are perished from every mind under us. And we shall see. See what I like the most over here? No, that was. She's PowerPoint, Rise Polska. Oh, yeah, there's this here. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, I forgot, like, yeah, we had like 2 paths of these, if I remember correctly. There's a left wing and there's a right wing sort of path, if I'm remembering it. Concealment. Concealing the concealment. That. I'll read this over here because we're going to be at time. Oh yeah, the Great Inquisitor. Roars and bells spew from the broken windows of the old church in the middle of nowhere like the noise of wild beasts sleeping in a cage. Inside along the barren building, the leaves of youths occupy the pews in the old shred Caucasian women. Once while away, and loud with us of war, one young man finally was the loopy shoes brawled in the seat. The defendant has not appeared before our court. I say death penalty for him. Laughter that boon across the sun, how the troy was enough to make a quake and shiver like a living organism. He'll shout and scream for their own government. To the guillotine with him. I got priest. I think he's scared. The charge and accusation kept on growing in the size of gravity, and another man rose from seats and yells of the wild beasts and nieces. Tall and burly, every eye in the room closely followed him like the pieces of horror in the sun. The poet revolutionary, the beating heart of Kirkias. Vladimir Maikowski drew a devilish smirk. Say he was carrying for a lifetime, and began to clear his clothes statements and judge the impromptu revolutionary tribunal. Friends, some of our comers deny that he exists. How foolish. So the approval, whistling and operating. Yeah, we know better than him, don't we? We know God's everywhere. God is in the whip that cracks at the back of the workers in Petrograd. God is the poison tongue of landlords and parasites. God, the industrialist, the slave driver, the general, and the priest. The evidence of his crimes is universal and omnipresent. Some especially elected men that even fire off their guns the air during their speeches. The hollering and screams of the crowd were so unbearably loud that one believed an earthquake was about to swallow the old church. While Peter called out Maikowski men speaking again. I will sentence the criminal Italian to death so that the people of the world may know themselves tyrannicides. How is obvious God knows how to come back from the dead. Does he not? We won't approve our affirmation again. In the name of mankind, sentences God to banishment. When the free people of the world that liberate themselves from the yoke of slavery, living each of the land as godless as it has been, with God's no excuse of returning from the grave. Then only then will we turn our heads on God will execute like a counter from the true humanity. God must die to death will be the life of the world. Very much so like that. After that over here that could be considered blasphemy. We shall end it over here. And next time we'll begin into the rest of this over here. Why man big miracles and shit. Till then, see you later. Bye.